Hello and welcome to this videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. Well, I live on the Isle of Wight, just off the south coast of England, and just across a short ferry ride away are two cities on the south coast. One's Portsmouth, one's Southampton. And those two cities are part of a local story that became a global story in the last few days. Portsmouth is where a family called the Kings live, with a 5-year-old son called Ashya, who has been suffering from a brain tumour. And Southampton is where the hospital is, Southampton General Hospital, where the boy Ashya has been treated. Now, it's a story that encapsulates the mentality of the state and what we've allowed the state to become. I've heard many horror stories from people on the Isle of Wight who've been treated for cancer and other things come to that at Southampton General Hospital. And so it didn't surprise me at all that Ashya's family decided that they had to try something else because they were not satisfied with what was going on at the Southampton Hospital involving the treatment of their son. So what they did is they took him out of hospital and they headed for mainland Europe and ended up in Spain because they wanted him to be treated with a more targeted radiation treatment, still radiation, but a more targeted, called proton therapy. And what that does is target specific cancer cells rather than just giving the whole body, and in Ashya's case, the whole brain, a smack of potentially lethal radiation. What happened when they decided to do what they felt was best for Ashya was absolutely extraordinary. With the full might of the state coming down on them in terms of the medical profession, the police, judges, councils. I'll get into all these different elements as we go along in this video cast today. But what it brings forth in this story is that it's not only individuals that can be psychopaths. States can be psychopaths. Anything that can be done and manifest through an individual can be manifested through a group. So you can have an individual who's of a certain character, and you can have a group of people together who are of the same character. The collective and the individual are different expressions of the same thing, whatever that character and personality trait is. And I've talked in videocast before about the fact that the world is basically controlled in terms of positions of power by psychopathic personalities. And when you then look at this story of Ashya King and his family, you see the psychopathic collective nature of the state in terms of the way it operates. Here's a few definitions of a psychopath. So see if this relates to the state as you experience it. Psychopaths have no conscience. They have no empathy, no ability to put themselves in the feelings that they are making other people experience by their actions. They have no emotion, again, links into conscience and empathy. They have no remorse for their actions. Tony Blair, I rest my case. But there's one addition to that, is that they can show fake remorse if it's necessary to get them out of a problem that they're in. Psychopaths manipulate people. State doesn't do that, does it? They're perceived as being sticky, slimy, and slippery. David Cameron, Barack Obama, I rest another case. They're control freaks. They are serial bullies. They have an exaggerated sense of self-importance. They're fantasists. They consistently apportion blame to others when things go wrong, regardless of how logically an explanation was given. They're looking for whipping boys and fall guys to take the blame for their actions. They twist and distort facts to their advantage. They have an inability to accept responsibility or blame for their actions. Did I say Tony Blair? I think I did. They can be vicious if cornered. They spin a web of deceit. They have a hidden agenda. They have a selective memory. They remember your mistakes but forget their own. They take credit for other people's work. They try to make you feel guilty, the guilt trip, if you protest about doing what, in this case, the state wants you to do. They're happy to dish out criticism or abuse, but they're not happy to receive criticism or abuse. It's do as I say, not do as I do. They give you a sense of being talked at rather than being talked to. They can't be trusted. They break promises and breach matters intended to be in confidence. They stab you in the back. They fake sincerity with great conviction. They're not team players. They act autocratically. They're two-faced. They lack any kind of personal depth. Did I mention David Cameron? I think I may mention him as well. They get others to do their dirty work. They're looking for attack dogs and hatchet men. They change the rules frequently but deny the inconsistency. Many use expressions such as, I was only following orders, to justify their actions. They see things in black and white. Something is either all good or all evil. See government statements of propaganda about almost anything. They lecture you endlessly until you agree. And they think that normal rules of society don't apply to them. They are somehow exempt. They're not concerned with right or wrong for their own actions, only with whether they can get away with doing something without being caught. See, the great crime of government is not doing something appalling. It's being caught for doing something appalling. That's the big crime. And while doing that, the psychopath insists that others adhere to strict rules of their making. Now, if I've ever heard the state, in all its forms around the world, described perfectly, well, that's getting close. And it's the descriptions of the behavior of psychopaths. I've had a number, more than a number, of psychopaths come into my life over the last 25 years since I started this journey, to disrupt and to undermine, some at close range, some a bit farther out. And so that experience has given me a considerable understanding of the psychopathic mind and how it works and how it manipulates, which has been of enormous value in understanding how the state operates and manipulates. Because if we're going to see through the lies and the deceit and see through the propaganda of government pronouncements and policies, then we need to understand how they think, because they think in a certain way. It's the way of the psychopath. And thus, lying is absolutely not only not a problem, it is a fundamental foundation of the psychopath.